So I was invited actually to share with you our experience at University of Aveiro for lifelong learning, mainly through the definition of this new executive unit of the university. It's called the Lifelong Learning Center, that is by now under my supervision. So going directly to the topic, so our goal at university is to promote this connection and cooperation between departments. This is the internal communication that we are responsible by, and also the connection between the university and external stakeholders, so that we can promote all the training activities that we developed in campus. So we are physically in building number 1 at the campus, and we give this full support for lifelong learner and non-degree courses. In terms of the need to create this new how can I say, it's not a service, it's more than that actually. So this new unit at University of Aveiro, it was one of the main goals for our rector, the current rector, that in his vision and the remain of the rectory team, they said that things are changing. As we know, demographics are demanding for new types of training. The market is changing, the needs in terms of competencies and knowledge changes also on a daily basis. So the idea of realign the skills of workers, the idea of requalify, the problem of our traditional masters, bachelors and PhD degrees does not fulfill with that need. They still keeping a very important role in our society, of course, and that I think will never change, at least in the near future. But to complement those traditional training offers with other more modular, more focused on the needs, it was one of the goals of our rector. Regarding that, it was created this Lifelong Learning Center. We are operating since 2022, and we are responsible for several lifelong learning opportunities. So we have these 3 types of opportunities. On one hand, we have these short duration courses through the concept of micro-credentials. We also have courses specific for teachers training, open language courses. I will talk a little bit into more detail about each one of these a little bit later. We are part of an European consortium of universities called SEIU, where we offer and we manage micro models and challenges. So the second one, it's an active learning approach based on challenge-based learning. And University of Aveiro also have in place this opportunity for people to attend isolated curricular units for all of our degree courses, both bachelor and master degrees. In terms of postgraduate studies, we have this new topic called new offer called specialization courses. Some of these courses are just a package of micro-credentials that we consider to be connected somehow, so the student can attend at some time one of the micro-credentials, and in the end of this path they can receive this extra post-graduation diploma, or some of these specialization courses are also part of master degrees. Then we also have the same for the third cycle for PhDs. So these what we call higher professional training courses, and we also have specific courses for scholarships for students that are working with us in projects and they need to be enrolled in a degree at University of Aveiro. So we also have this specific course for that. University is also sensitive to the pre-university students, those that for some reason did not enter into a bachelor degree yet. Different situations can happen. On one hand, for example, international students that they would like to come to Portugal 1 year before they enter into the bachelor degrees. We have this start at UA. And for local students, for national students, we have the Horizont that allows, for example, someone that tried to enter that university but for some reason failed and wants to start engaging this university life, they can apply for this Horizont. In terms of all these courses passes through a quality assurance process, and it starts in beginning. So University of Aveiro, through the Center for Lifelong Learning, we are in a straight collaboration with external stakeholders in terms of the identification of the training needs. We also identify training needs based on our research, because since we are a higher education institution, we do research and we have a clear idea about what is relevant for the future. So this needs identification, it's not only internal but also external. Then these lifelong learning opportunities passes through an approval by our scientific and pedagogical council, and based on that we can deliver formal recognition through the European credits system. We play a pivotal role in all this process, because we are responsible both for the communication, to coordinate all this process, submission and connection between the departments and these councils. We are responsible for managing all the applications and admission process, of course certification, and later on everything that is related with the quality insurance and continuous improvement. So we collect all the information that we can, both from the professors that are involved in these training units, but also from the lifelong learners that attend these courses. We are also executing at this moment several funded projects where there is at least part of the goal is to promote the creation and deliver the new training activities. Some of them with the resilience program, like adult, young, digital and health impulse. Then we also have some national agendas like Nexus, that is more related to the logistics, digital logistics, another one about blockchain, among others, and also some European projects, one of them that I already referred, the European Innovative Universities Association, and also DigiAdvance, Cyber Challenge, among others, with some partners with different countries. And in this case, we are responsible for the project management, as well as to act as an interface with all these external partners. And of course, in the end of the day, we really would like to promote these lifelong learning opportunities, and based on the geographical area, both national and international. So now I will just try to pass a couple of minutes to each one of these types of courses. So on one hand, and I think this is the most, it's a hype now in Europe and in the world, and we truly believe that eventually this is a solution for the future to complement the degree courses. That is the concept of micro-credentials. So a student, someone in their life that needs both requalification, so reskilling or upskilling, that they would like to engage in this type of short duration courses. In the end, they will receive a micro-credential that certifies that person receives a specific set of skills or knowledge. European Union, as everyone knows in this room for sure, are investing a huge amount of money in this process. We consider that universities or higher education institutes can play a very important role in this topic. So University of Aveiro is working hard to promote this new type of non-degree courses. From our perspective, the definition is a macro-credential is considered a course with less than 12 ACTSs. After that, we can combine several of these type of courses to create those specialization ones that are referred before. So at this moment, we have more than 300 micro-credentials approved by our councils, so it's a quite interesting portfolio. All the process was created from scratch, because University of Aveiro, despite delivering training actions for companies almost from the beginning, so University of Aveiro, born inside the company at our city, a telecommunications company. So from the beginning, university was really connected with the external stakeholders in terms of teaching, but until 2022, that was done with an external entity that is still operating and working, that delivered these training units like a separated entity of the university. But our rector decided, in my opinion, very well, of course, that this should be part of our daily life. So we should bring our lifelong learnings to the university, and universities should also be prepared for this lifelong learning. So we created all this process from the beginning, from the definition of this new type of courses through all the process from the application, scholarships, and so on. So the portfolio is quite interesting at this moment, and we are continuously working on keeping that updated on a daily basis. In terms of the process, I think it's clear after everything that we listened here today, the importance of keeping the people that are active working, giving them the possibility to reskilling and upskilling, because as we know, everything is changing at a very high pace. I think that is valid in all the scientific areas. We considered also this idea of micro-credentials can be interesting in a perspective of mobility. So a student a lifelong learner can come to Portugal at University of Aveiro and attend, eventually also in some cases remotely, an online course about a specific topic. But in the day, the next month, he or she can attend a different micro-credential at other university. So in the end of the day, what we want, what European Commission wants, is that the students can have these flexible pathways, and receiving the best in terms of competencies and knowledge among all the higher education institutes of Europe. Okay, and the idea is that all these micro-credentials are based on the needs of the market, not only because we think it's relevant as an institution, but also because we know that there is really this trend. So we are continuously monitoring, not only based, for example, on interviews or automatic analysis of jobs offers. We try to understand what are the really needs of the market. Why universities play an important place in this topic? Because as higher educations that we are, I think we have the state of the art in some cases in terms of technology, or in other cases even in the knowledge, because in research, as you know, we always try to go behind what is the common knowledge about a specific topic. So I think with this we can allow external people eventually that are working or are seeking work, to have access to all this new, I just wrote here, equipment, software, and technologies, but also knowledge itself. So the idea of micro-credentials also as a process of someone that can start with a small piece of course, then combine several of them. It's also the idea of accumulation. We consider that the assessment, so the evaluation of the students, the assessment, it's also part very relevant, and it's mandatory for certification using European credits, both vocational and the traditional ACTSs. So that is why we both validate all our training actions by our scientific and pedagogical councils, but also to ensure this part of the assessment. I think that it's a quite different approach. For example, when we compare to other entities that, for example, just deliver online self-paced courses. So I think we have a position here. Means our universities in Europe have something to say about this, and we are just one example among everyone else that are working on these topics. So the graduate specialization programs, some of them are just based on micro-credentials. It's the example that I have on my right. So it's a situation where we have 4 micro-credentials that when combined, so when the student finished the attending with success, these 4 micro-credentials, he or she received an extra diploma of this course, or in some cases we opened this course as a whole, so the student, the lifelong learner, can apply to attend all these courses. I will use the term at the same time, but means he or she can enroll at everything in the same. We also have, at this moment, we have 40 approved specialization programs in the most different areas. In terms of collaboration with the European SCIU University, there are these 2 types of courses. On one hand, we have these micro modules that in the end, they provide micro credentials. and also do what they call challenges, that is a teaching methodology based on challenge-based learning. So this can exist between 1 and 12 SCTSs most of the cases, and they are delivered by a consortium of 12 universities, where University of Aveiro is also one of them. We have the open language courses. At this moment, we have, as far as I remember by heart, 38 different courses approved, several language, several levels. So not only language, but also levels. And we not only to deliver to internal students, but we also have a quite interesting amount of situations where we deliver this, for example, for companies that search for this type of competencies in languages. So we deliver specific courses according to their needs. I'm sorry for these slides being Portuguese, but this is it was the real screenshot about our webpage. So this is the continuous training for professors. So in Portugal, the law it's mandatory for the teachers from primary and middle and middle school to attend active training actions. So we are University of Aveiro is registered as one of the entities in Portugal that can deliver this type of courses. Usually they are short, very similar to micro-credentials. We also have some micro-credentials that at the same time are approved by the government as this type of training actions, and it's also something that we promote in Portugal. Regarding the pre-university courses, we have so this national and international that I referred before. I think I already talked about everything. The idea is to allow the students to engage at the university life slightly before they can apply for a degree, mostly bachelor degrees. In terms of numbers, so these are reaching a very interesting, I will say, at least for the dimension of our university. We have 16,000 students. Every year enters more or less 2,000 new students on bachelor degrees. But for example, 2024, we manage almost 3,000 lifelong learners, which it's a quite interesting number for a process that we are just starting. I will not enter into details, all these numbers, just to give you an idea of proportion. We also included and have this continuously updated in our university quality portal. So the numbers for 2025, if we continue growing at this level, at this rate, we will achieve slightly better results even comparing with 2024. So it's quite an interesting universe of people that we are. However, it's clear for us at this moment that there are several challenges. As a higher education institution that born to deliver what is more common, degree courses, we are facing at least, not only, but at least some of these, I brought this for discussion eventually. So the academic information systems, they are really not adapted for flexible and short-term learning offers. We are struggling to have the management of all these new type of courses. It's still a problem in terms of the academic systems. Even all the structure in terms of the curricula and the way as we managing, for example, the distribution of the teaching hours, it's quite complicated for this non-fixed courses, because they don't happen in the same time. Most of them, when they happen in collaboration with the company, they happen in moments where the companies are available to provide their employees to the training actions. So these are just some examples. I think we need new pedagogical approaches, and we are doing some research through our Center for Life for training of professors. So we created also this new entity at university to provide training actions for our colleagues, because that it's clear, all the research tell us that there are needing new learning paradigms for these lifelong learners. Locally, of course, some of our professors, they still don't identify themselves with this new type of teaching and learning methodologies and ideas. So we are still trying to change the way as people thinks. Outside, for the general population, it was not common to use universities for vocational training. There were companies that for a long time, companies means entities that for a long time provides this type of services. Now universities appears also as a solution, as an alternative. So we need to keep increasing this awareness about this our position in this process, and of course I think the next topic is related to the previous one. There are still some complexity in this quality assurance and accreditation, because at some point, as we are requesting that all these training offers are approved by all the councils, sometimes it's not easy from one day to another to deliver a course for a specific stakeholder that needs. So we still need some time to manage all of this. It's quite complicated also to keep this alignment between the need of the labor market and what we are able sometimes to deliver. The questions about financial sustainability and funding. At this moment, we still do not have any kind of funding from the government, so universities should find their own business model to keep going on this topic, and also, of course, about everything that we should take into consideration when we talked about adult learners for their daily duties. So if you have curiosity to have more information, we are also working quite hard in terms of so we have a team that is responsible for creating content and to disseminate all these new type of courses, both on social media, but also through other channels. It's also something important where we are betting. So thank you very much for your time. I'm sorry I just passed 1 minute from the time. Thank you very much once again for the invitation, and I'm completely open for questions if you have it.
Thank you very much, Professor Neves, for the great presentation. Do we have questions? Yes, Rodrigo, please.
Yeah, I didn't hear, but maybe you tell this in the presentation. Is there a type of closed calls for the micro credentials, or are open calls? And the second question is if you need a minimum number of students to put the micro credentials in running.
Yes, there are a minimum and a maximum number of students that we can receive in a specific training offer. And those numbers are based on two things. On one hand, the sustainability of the course, because students pay tuition fees, and we have to, depending on the course, and because it depends if it takes, for example, supplies for laboratory or not. So based on the sustainability, financial, and also in terms of the teaching and learning experience. There are courses that they only make sense with a minimum number of students, so that they can have the real experience that we expected for that action.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Rodrigo. Thank you, Mr. Neves. Any more questions? I have one question, maybe. Could you explain one example where continUA and with micro-credential had a direct impact on a company?
Fortunately, we have a quite large number of good examples. At this moment, we have more than 150 cooperation process signed with different entities in Portugal. And in at least the feedback has been very positive, because we always do this type of questionnaires and interviews to the people that attend our courses. And when they are delivered, so let's focus on micro-credentials. When micro-credentials are delivered specific for a company, we even go further, and later, passing some times of the process, we try to interview RH or some other services inside that company, or not only companies, I'm sorry, because stakeholders are not only companies. We work, for example, with municipalities, or for example, hospital that is our neighbor physically, the region, the hospital. We are, for example, now offering them a very interesting portfolio of micro-credentials because there are, I'm trying to answer in 1 minute. There are these two types of approaches to deliver lifelong learning courses from our university. On one hand, we have what we call public applications. So we make the courses available for applications during a specific period of time, and they are available for everyone to apply. And we have what we call the specific editions, when we have one or more stakeholders that decide alone or together to attend that specific edition. In this second case, we implemented a simplified process of admission, so the students don't have to apply individually. We connect directly with the stakeholder and receive the data and information about the students to enroll them. So fortunately, I think it's being very positive. Some stakeholders said that it's the first time that they are using university as a training training entity. They are used to work with other type of I don't know, companies or entities that provide training. So it's been quite interesting, and we are registering all this feedback so that this can be a continuous improvement. I'm not sure if I answered directly to the question, but
yes, you did. Thank you very much. We have
you're welcome.
actually in Project Habitable micro-credentials as a topic. So we see the questions. Rodrigo and then Areti, please.
I let Areti. I don't want to be the only.
No, please go ahead.
Yeah, I saw in the presentation that between your challenges there is a strong competition from private training providers. Okay, we are a private training provider, and we think the challenge is to work as fast as we work, selecting the demanded micro credentials. Okay. Maybe we have the ability of making the contents of the micro credentials faster than public infrastructures or whatever. I think it's a market subject, not only the opportunity. Is the market who says where are the demands that the companies need. So we have maybe, for example, here in Spain, we have the direct way between companies and private providers. I think maybe you can so think about it. Also, tell me something.
Yes, I think it's very relevant what you just said, because more than competitors, I think we see here an opportunity to shape the future of the lifelong training actions, because of course I never read anywhere that universities would like to substitute the private companies that deliver vocational training offers, because we will never be able to do the same as you do in terms of speed and quality in the end of the day, and also in terms of the connection that you can have with external stakeholders. I think we can complement, because for sure you also understand that there are areas and specific topics where, since universities do research by default, we also have something to contribute. And I really would like to see in the near future that universities can be just partners of some of these very well established private entities, and we can just provide extra. We have a very interesting example, Rodrigo, just just one example among others. There is this company called Prio. It's the biggest Portuguese company at this moment in terms of fuel distribution, and also in terms of renewable sources and so on. Well, moving on. They have an internal private training academy, and we are just partners. So we provide the courses on a level that they are not able to provide, because national law only allows until EQF level 5. So 6 and 7 cannot be provided by private entities, at least in Portugal. I'm not sure if in Spain is the same. So I think universities can be partners to all these training actions that can go above level 5. So once again, I see challenges because we still have to represent ourselves in a world where we are not used to work, but on the other hand, as an opportunity to complement this lack of. But I'm completely understand and I'm aligned with your ideas. Thank you very much, Rodrigo.
Thank you for the interesting discussion. A last question, Areti, please.
Yes, I don't know if this question was already answered, but I wanted to ask about the recognition and how widely recognized are macro credentials in Portugal, at least, and how much value do they hold in terms of employability, career progression, or further education? Because in Greece, at least at the moment, they are not so widely recognized. There are some efforts that they try to recognize them and make them more acceptable in terms of employability, but they are not so widely recognized. And I wanted to know about the situation in Portugal and in their institution.
Okay, I think your question has two complementary answers. On one hand, Portuguese universities, and I think that applies to all the higher education institutions in Europe, they can provide courses with SETSs because they are already approved to do that, since the courses keep some quality insurance rules. On one hand, all the courses to provide SETSs have to have assessment or evaluation. I like more the word assessment. So the students, even the lifelong learners, have to pass through an assessment phase. So they have a mark. In the end, the mark can be just approved or not approved, or can be a number between 0 and 20 in Portugal, or different levels depending on the country in Europe. But to be, in order for a training action to deliver SETSs, they can fulfill with these two conditions. So approved by the internal organs, pedagogical, to guarantee that that course fulfill with the mandatory rules of that higher education institution in particular, in terms of pedagogical concepts, and scientific, just to clarify that micro module is in the correct scientific area, the responsible for the course is from the right scientific area, and so on. So scientific and pedagogical are validated through those councils, and in the end of the day, if there are assessment, we can deliver SETSs. The second part of the question, all the numbers and all the statistics says that micro modules or micro credentials, because whatever we deliver in terms of the concept, in the end of the day, what we deliver to the student are micro credentials. We are saying you received this small credential because you attended this specific course in this specific area. So the skills or the knowledge that the person is taking is valid for sure for their daily life. If the companies are recognizing or not, we are trying to follow all the statistics available about that. Mainly, for example, we are realizing that LinkedIn is doing a very, very interesting job on trying to connect all the job offers in terms of competencies and knowledge on top of the regulatory or mandatory degree courses. So to apply to that position, you have to be a degree in something plus knowledge in these topics, but written in a way that our micro credentialing or our training actions can be part of the proof that someone is having that competences or not. So I think at some point, but I can say more. I'm sorry, the time is passing very fast. We have a lot to talk about this, about digital micro-credential. That is something that Europe is working very hard. Our university is also part of a pilot where in the end of delivering a micro-credential, the student can import automatically for their Europass CV the information about that micro-credentialing. So I hope in the near future everything is being digitalized, of course using technology like blockchain and so on, that is another issue, to guarantee that the data is really valid. So at some point, I really believe that all this work that we are doing, in the end of the day, the person can just deliver their digital curriculum to a company to prove that he or she has specific competencies on an area.
Thank you very much.
Great.
You're welcome.
Great. Thank you very much. We will actually deal much more on micro-credentials in other tasks. So I'm very happy about this.